Most people listen to words, and that is why they keep getting deceived, because words are the easiest part of a person to control. Words can be rehearsed, polished, strategic, charming, timed perfectly. People can say they care and still use you. Say they are honest and still hide everything. Say they love you and still betray you. Say they support you and secretly resent you. Say they are confident and be deeply insecure. Words are often edited, but truth leaks elsewhere. In pauses, in tone, in timing, in eyes, in consistency, in how someone behaves when there is nothing to gain, in what changes when pressure enters the room, in how your body feels around them before your mind has language for it. That is where smart people look. Many people suffer not because others were impossible to understand, but because they kept trusting performance over patterns. They believed promises over behavior, charm over character, intensity over consistency, attention over intention. And by the time truth became obvious, damage had already happened. Time lost, trust broken, energy drained, confidence shaken. This skill can change that. Because once you learn to read people properly, you stop needing everyone to confess who they are. You stop asking life to warn you twice. You stop being surprised by patterns that were visible early. You stop confusing noise for depth. You stop mistaking fake confidence for strength. You stop calling manipulation love. You stop calling inconsistency mystery. You stop calling selfishness complicated. You begin to see clearly. And clear vision is power. Not power over people, power around people. The power to choose better, trust slower, move wiser, protect your peace, and avoid emotional debt before it becomes expensive. This is not about becoming paranoid, suspicious of everyone, cold, emotionless. That is weakness disguised as wisdom. No, this is about becoming observant, calm enough to notice, detached enough to think, wise enough to wait, strong enough to accept what patterns reveal. Because many people do see red flags, they simply negotiate with them. They see selfishness and call it confidence. They see dishonesty and call it complexity. They see disrespect and call it stress. They see inconsistency and call it potential. They see manipulation and call it passion. Seeing is not enough. You must be willing to believe what you see. That is where maturity begins. Some of the most dangerous people are not obviously dangerous. They are charming, funny, helpful, attractive, talented, wounded in convincing ways. They know how to be liked, but being liked and being safe are not the same thing. And some of the most valuable people are not flashy at all. They are steady, consistent, quietly kind, predictable in the best way, calm under pressure, respectful when no one is watching, not impressive at first glance, but pressless over time. Most people are judging the wrong things. This audiobook will change that. You will learn why patterns matter more than promises, why eyes reveal pressure, why energy speaks before language, why insecure people perform confidence, why motives matter more than masks, why calm people read rooms faster, and how to become so socially aware that deception struggles to reach you. Because once you understand people, you stop taking everything personally. You stop chasing confusing signals. You stop trying to heal what was never healthy. You stop wasting years on unavoidable lessons. And perhaps most importantly, you become harder to fool, harder to manipulate, harder to use, harder to distract from your path. There is a cost to seeing clearly. Some illusions will die. Some people will become obvious. Some connections will lose their shine. Some truths will disappoint you. But confusion is far more expensive than disappointment. Truth may sting once. Illusion charges monthly. So listen carefully, not just to these words, but to your own life, to the people around you, to the patterns you ignored, to the signals you explained away, to the instincts you silenced. Because by the end of this journey, you may never look at human behavior the same way again. But first, we need to start with the mistake that traps almost everyone: believing what people say while ignoring what they repeatedly do. Chapter 1. Words lie, patterns don't. Most people are not deceived by strangers. They are deceived by hope. Hope that this time the words are real. Hope that charm means character. Hope that promises predict behavior. Hope that potential will eventually become consistency. And because hope can be beautiful, it can also be expensive. Many people do not lose years because they lacked intelligence. They lose years because they kept listening to words while ignoring patterns. Someone says they care, but they disappear when it matters. Someone says they respect you, but they repeatedly cross boundaries. Someone says they are honest, but the story keeps changing. Someone says they are serious, but effort only appears when losing access. Someone says they are different, but behavior remains familiar. This is the first law of reading people. Words introduce, patterns confirm. Anyone can speak well for a day, for a week, for a season, but repetition reveals structure, and structure is who someone becomes under pressure. Many people fall in love with language. I miss you. I've never met anyone like you. I'm trying. You matter to me. Trust me. These phrases can be sincere. They can also be tools. Language by itself is neutral. What gives words value is alignment. Do actions repeat the message? Does behavior support the sentence? Does reality agree with the promise? If not, the words may be emotional decoration. There is a painful truth here. Some people say beautiful things because they know beautiful things work, not because beautiful things are true. They studied reaction, not integrity. They learned that attention follows charm, that access follows reassurance, that forgiveness follows emotional speeches, that people often reward intention more than consistency. So they become fluent in appearance while remaining poor in substance. This is why inexperienced people are often moved by intensity, but wise people are moved by consistency. Intensity can be manufactured quickly. Consistency is expensive. It requires discipline, character, patience, respect, integrity across time. Anyone can send paragraphs after hurting you. Not everyone can change patterns after being confronted. Anyone can apologize dramatically. Not everyone can become reliable quietly. Anyone can promise forever in a beautiful moment. Not everyone can show up repeatedly in ordinary ones. Patterns live in ordinary moments. That is where truth hides. How do they handle inconvenience? How do they behave when tired? How do they speak about people who cannot help them?
How do they treat boundaries? How do they respond when told no? How do they act when there is nothing to gain? How do they behave after getting what they wanted? These moments reveal more than speeches ever will. Many people are confused because they judge isolated moments, one sweet weekend, one generous gesture, one emotional apology, one impressive conversation, one attractive display of confidence. Then they ignore months of inconsistency surrounding it. But identity is not built from random highlights. It is built from repeated defaults. A person who lies often but tells one truth is still showing a lying pattern. A person who disappears often but returns warmly is still showing instability. A person who disrespects often but apologizes beautifully is still showing disrespect with polished recovery. A person who is kind only when watched is still showing performance. Patterns matter because they show baseline, and baseline predicts future better than moments do. There is another reason people miss patterns. They personalize too much. Someone withdraws. They think, "What did I do wrong?" Someone becomes inconsistent. They think, "How can I fix this?" Someone lies. They think, "Maybe I was unclear." Someone gives crumbs. They think, "Maybe I need to be more patient." No. Sometimes behavior is not a puzzle about you. It is information about them. Reading people becomes easier when you stop centering yourself in every signal. Not every inconsistency is your fault. Not every withdrawal is your inadequacy. Not every disrespect is something you caused. Sometimes the simplest explanation is true. An inconsistent person is being inconsistent. A selfish person is prioritizing self. A dishonest person is using dishonesty. You do not need a tragic backstory to recognize obvious patterns. Compassion is valuable, but compassion without clarity becomes self-harm. There is also the trap of potential. Many people do not date or trust the person in front of them. They trust the future version they imagine. He could be amazing if he heals. She would be incredible if she became consistent. They mean well underneath it all. Once stress passes, everything will change. Potential is one of the most expensive fantasies in human relationships, because potential can keep you loyal to patterns that already answered you. People can grow, absolutely, but you must relate to demonstrated reality, not imagined upgrades. Reading people requires respecting present evidence, not future fiction. There is another elite truth. People often reveal themselves most clearly when they think you will tolerate it. Early on, many perform well. They are attentive, careful, pleasant, strategic. But once comfort arrives, once access feels secure, once they believe you are invested, defaults emerge. Effort drops. Respect changes. Honesty weakens. Warmth becomes conditional. This is why patience matters. Time removes makeup from character. Do not rush trust. Do not confuse beginnings with truth. Beginnings are edited. Patterns are unedited. Watch enough time and real habits appear. There is also pressure. Pressure reveals structure faster than comfort does. When stressed, do they become cruel? When disappointed, do they punish? When corrected, do they deflect? When losing, do they cheat? When jealous, do they sabotage? When emotional, do they become manipulative? Many people seem admirable in easy seasons. Pressure is where hidden code runs. You do not fully know people by how they act when pleased. You know them deeply by how they act when challenged. Another important lesson: listen less to claims. Watch more for costs. Anyone can claim loyalty. Do they remain decent when loyalty costs convenience? Anyone can claim honesty. Do they tell truth when lying would benefit them? Anyone can claim love. Do they protect your dignity when upset? Anyone can claim maturity. Do they regulate themselves under stress? Anyone can claim respect. Do they honor boundaries without punishment? Claims are cheap. Costs reveal sincerity.
Many people ask, how do I know if someone is genuine? Look for congruence. Words match actions. Energy matches promises. Behavior stable across contexts. Treatment consistent whether watched or unwatched. Values present when costly. Congruence feels calm because there is little contradiction to process. Incongruence feels confusing because your mind is trying to merge two opposing realities. They say one thing, do another. Promise warmth, deliver distance. Ask trust, create doubt. Confusion is often a signal, not a challenge to solve. Some people keep trying harder when signals are already clear. They think more love will fix patterns, more patience will fix dishonesty, more understanding will fix selfishness. Sometimes effort improves relationships. Sometimes effort only deepens access for the wrong person. Discernment matters. There is another reason patterns are ignored: loneliness. When people fear being alone, they negotiate with evidence. They minimize obvious issues, call red flags normal, accept crumbs as connection, rename inconsistency as complexity. Need distorts perception. This is why emotional independence sharpens reading skills. The less desperate you are for people, the clearer people become. Urgency makes lies believable. Peace makes patterns visible. There is a practical method here. Instead of asking, "What did they say?" ask, "What repeats? What happens consistently? What changes only when consequences appear? What appears only when they need something? What disappears once they get comfort? What do they do under stress? What remains true across time?" These questions cut through performance. Another advanced insight. Your body often notices pattern before your mind admits it. You feel drained after them repeatedly, uneasy around them repeatedly, confused after conversations repeatedly, unsettled by mixed signals repeatedly, tense before seeing them repeatedly. Do not worship feelings blindly, but do not ignore repeated body data either. Sometimes the nervous system detects incongruence before logic names it. There is also self-patterns. To read others well, read yourself too. Do you keep trusting charm, ignoring inconsistency, overvaluing words, trying to rescue unstable people, mistaking intensity for intimacy? Patterns are not only outside you. Sometimes the repeated problem is what you repeatedly choose. That truth can sting, but it restores power. Because what you participate in, you can change. What others do is theirs. What you continue tolerating becomes partly yours.
Another elite principle. When actions and words disagree, believe actions first. When apologies and patterns disagree, believe patterns first. When promises and history disagree, believe history first. When charm and treatment disagree, believe treatment first. This single principle can save years. Some will call it cynical. It is not. It is respectful of evidence. Still, patterns alone are not enough. Some people control actions carefully in front of you, but pressure leaks through places harder to manage. The eyes, the pauses, the tiny hesitations, the discomfort signals most people miss. Because while words can be trained and behavior can be staged briefly, the body often speaks before strategy catches up.
Chapter 2. The Eyes Reveal Pressure. Most people study what someone says. Few people study what someone cannot fully control. And one of the fastest places truth leaks is the eyes. Not because eyes are magical, not because every glance means deception, not because body language is perfect science, but because pressure often changes attention, and attention shows in the eyes. When someone feels calm, safe, aligned, their gaze often looks different than when they feel threatened, hiding something, uncomfortable, trying to impress, trying to dominate, trying to escape. The eyes respond to internal state faster than speeches do. That is why smart observers do not obsess over words alone. They notice visual shifts when stakes change. Many people make one mistake immediately. They think eye contact automatically means honesty, and avoidance automatically means guilt. Life is more nuanced than that. Some honest people avoid eye contact because they are anxious, shy, neurodivergent, culturally conditioned to be softer, overstimulated. Some deceptive people hold excellent eye contact because they practiced performance. They know confidence is persuasive. They know steady gaze is mistaken for truth, so they use it. This is the first lesson. Never judge one signal alone. Read clusters, read timing, read change, read context. A person who usually looks relaxed but suddenly changes gaze when one topic appears, that shift may matter. A person who comfortably answers most things but hesitates visually at one question, that may matter. A person who stares intensely in every interaction, that may reveal something too. The key is not the signal itself. It is what changes under pressure. Pressure is the language to watch. When people feel pressure, some look away quickly, as if the mind wants distance from the moment. Some blink more, as internal load rises. Some freeze their gaze unnaturally, trying too hard to appear composed. Some scan the room, looking for escape, approval, witnesses. Some narrow the eyes, as if preparing defense. Again, none of these alone prove anything, but they often reveal state. And state helps you read the moment. There is another truth. The eyes often reveal interest before words admit it. Someone says they are listening, but their gaze keeps drifting to phones, doors, other people. Attention is elsewhere. Someone says they care, but their eyes look absent whenever you speak deeply. Presence is missing. Someone says they are confident, but their eyes constantly search the room for validation. Security may be weaker than advertised. Attention reveals value. Where gaze repeatedly goes, energy often follows.
This matters in relationships, friendships, business, leadership, because many people say yes while visually saying no. They verbally agree but look disengaged. They compliment but look resentful. They promise but look mentally elsewhere. You do not need to accuse, you simply need to notice. Another elite principle. Watch what happens when unexpected information enters. When someone hears something surprising, the prepared mouth may still speak calmly, but the eyes often react first. A flash of irritation, concern, excitement, jealousy, fear, relief. Then the face reorganizes. This happens quickly. Many miss it because they only listen to the sentence that follows, but the first reaction often contains raw truth. Not always, but often enough to matter. There is also the difference between warm gaze and strategic gaze. Warm gaze feels present. You sense attention landing naturally. There is softness, listening, humanity. Strategic gaze often feels calculated, held slightly too long, used to impress, used to dominate without depth, used to create effect more than connection. Some people look at you, others look through techniques at you. Your nervous system can often feel the difference if you slow down enough to notice. Many manipulative people understand surface confidence. Strong handshake, direct eye contact, smooth tone. But real trustworthiness has a different texture. Less performance, more steadiness. Less intensity, more congruence. Less need to impress, more ease. Do not confuse practiced signals with healthy substance. There is another signal. When discussing accountability, observe the eyes when responsibility appears. Some people remain open, reflective, engaged. Others harden, look away, become restless. Search for exits. Shift quickly into counterattack. This does not automatically mean guilt, but it often means discomfort with responsibility. And repeated discomfort with responsibility predicts difficult relationships. Another hidden cue. Contempt often leaks through the eyes before words show it. A slight roll. Dismissive narrowing. Glancing at others for alliance. Looking through you while you speak. People may use polite sentences while visually devaluing you. This matters because contempt is corrosive. Respectful conflict can survive. Contempt often poisons slowly. Many people stay in environments where words sound acceptable, while visually communicate disdain. Trust what the full interaction says, not only vocabulary. There is also envy. Few admit envy openly, but sometimes it appears in gaze when others succeed. Forced smile. Eyes flatten. Quick withdrawal. Sudden change of energy. Immediate topic shift. Minimizing language after visual tension. Again, avoid paranoia, but repeated inability to celebrate others cleanly reveals inner conflict. And inner conflict eventually shapes behavior. Another advanced truth. Your own eyes reveal you too. If you constantly scan for threat, validation, approval, comparison, escape, you are communicating internal state without speaking. Social intelligence is not only reading others, it is becoming readable in healthier ways yourself. Grounded gaze, present attention, warm steadiness, calm curiosity. These signals build trust quietly. Many people think charisma is words. Often it's regulated attention. There is also overstaring. Some mistake intense eye contact for strength. They hold gaze aggressively, as if dominance proves confidence. But often excessive staring reveals insecurity trying to wear power. Real confidence rarely needs visual force. It can look away naturally, listen naturally, smile naturally, break gaze without fear, return without strain. Nothing to prove. People who are secure usually don't treat eye contact like combat. Another subtle cue. When someone lies habitually, they may focus more on managing appearance than on connecting. You may feel the interaction is strangely edited, too careful, too polished, too controlled. The eyes can seem busy with self-monitoring because deception requires management. Truth usually requires less performance. This does not mean every polished person lies. It means over-management can be data. Combine it with patterns. Always combine. Many beginners become dangerous readers because they over-interpret. One glance, one blink, one look away, and they create stories. Do not do this. Wise reading is probabilistic, not absolute. You are not convicting people, you are gathering clues. Staying awake. Adjusting trust gradually. That mindset protects both accuracy and humility. There is a practical method. When speaking with someone, don't stare analyzing every second. That creates anxiety and bad judgment. Instead, relax. Listen. Notice baseline. How do they normally seem? Then notice shifts. What topics change energy? What questions change pace? What moments create visible tension? What subjects bring warmth? What brings avoidance? What brings a live presence? Reading people is easier when you know they're normal first. Change from baseline is often more meaningful than generic rules. Another powerful use of eye awareness. Know when not to continue. If someone repeatedly shows absence while claiming commitment, disdain while offering respect, restlessness while claiming interest, visual coldness while offering polite words, you may not need confrontation first. You may need recalibrated investment. Not every mismatch needs debate. Sometimes it needs distance. There is also the mirror truth. People who feel seen accurately often trust you faster. When you notice subtle discomfort, slow down. When you notice overwhelm, give space. When you notice excitement, invite more. When you notice shame, use gentleness. Observation can become kindness, not manipulation. That is the noble use of social intelligence. To respond better, not to control people. Another truth. Eyes reveal pressure, but energy reveals atmosphere. Sometimes before anyone speaks, you feel tension entering with someone, or ease, or hidden hostility, or warmth. There are people whose words sound fine, yet the room tightens when they arrive, and others whose presence calms before sentences begin. Because beyond visible signals, humans communicate something deeper. State. And state is often louder than language.
Chapter 3. Energy Never Lies. There are things people say, and there are things people bring. Many people focus only on speech, what was said, how it was said, what message was delivered. But beneath words there is another layer most people feel before they understand. Energy.
Not magic, not superstition, not fantasy. Energy in this context means emotional atmosphere. The state someone carries into a room, the effect they create around them, the tension or ease others feel near them.
The tension or ease others feel near them. Some people arrive and conversation tightens. Others arrive and people breathe easier. Some speak politely, yet leave you drained. Others say little, yet leave you clearer. Some smile, but the room feels cautious. Others are quiet, and the room feels safe. That is energy. And while words can be edited quickly, state is harder to fake consistently. Many people have experienced this without language for it. You meet someone who seems perfect on paper, confident, successful, funny, attractive, smooth. Yet something in you does not settle. You cannot explain it. Nothing obvious is wrong, but your body stays alert. Then later, patterns confirm what intuition sensed early. Manipulation, self-centeredness, instability, dishonesty, need for control. This does not mean every uneasy feeling is prophecy. Sometimes unease comes from your own wounds, anxiety, projection, past trauma, insecurity. That is why wisdom matters. But it does mean the body often registers subtle data before the mind organizes it. Tone shifts, micro-contempt, attention hunger, incongruence, hidden aggression, restlessness. Your nervous system notices more than your conscious mind admits. There are also people whose presence regulates others. They are not always the loudest, not always the most charismatic, not always the center of attention, but around them you feel less pressure, less performance, less need to prove. You feel able to exhale. These people often carry grounded energy. They are congruent. Their words match their state. Their confidence does not demand applause. Their attention feels present. Their emotions are not leaking chaos everywhere. That presence becomes valuable because calm people lend calmness to rooms, and dysregulated people spread dysregulation. This is why choosing who you spend time with matters deeply. Energy is contagious. Spend enough time around bitter people. You may become sharper without noticing. Spend enough time around frantic people. You may become hurried internally. Spend enough time around jealous people. You may start shrinking joy. Spend enough time around dramatic people. Peace may begin to feel boring. Spend enough time around grounded people. You may remember steadiness. Humans synchronize more than they realize. Another important truth. Some people are exhausting because they require constant management. You must reassure them often. Walk carefully around moods. Decode mixed signals. Manage their insecurity. Survive unpredictability. Protect yourself from overreaction. Carry conversations alone. This drains energy fast. Even if they never shout, even if they are nice enough. Some dynamics are expensive quietly. Many people keep relationships because there is no dramatic abuse, but they ignore chronic depletion. Not every harmful connection is explosive. Some are simply draining enough to diminish you over time. That is energy wisdom. Notice what repeated contact costs. There is also hidden hostility. Some people smile while competing with you, support you while resenting you, congratulate you while shrinking inside, offer help while keeping score, use polite language while carrying subtle contempt. You may not have proof immediately, but interactions feel slightly off. Compliments land strangely. Success around them feels tense. Vulnerability feels unsafe. Your joy feels unwelcome. Again, do not become paranoid, but repeated subtle friction matters. The body often notices covert hostility before the mind can articulate it. Another elite principle: watch how you feel after interactions, not only during them. Some people are charming in the moment, entertaining, engaging, stimulating. Then afterward you feel tired, confused, heavy,
anxious, second-guessing yourself. This matters. Performance can hide impact temporarily, but aftermath tells truth. Others may seem simple in conversation, no fireworks, no seduction, no dramatic intensity, yet afterward you feel clearer, lighter, seen, motivated, steady. Do not underestimate people who leave good aftermath. That is rare value. There is another trap. Many confuse intensity with connection, fast vulnerability, hot chemistry, immediate obsession, constant texting, emotional highs, drama followed by closeness. This can feel electric, but electricity is not always safety. Some bonds feel powerful because they trigger wounds, anxious attachment, need for validation, fear of loss, intermittent reward. The nervous system mistakes activation for depth, then says, "This must be special." Maybe, or maybe it is familiar chaos wearing excitement. Healthy energy often feels slower, cleaner, less addictive, more peaceful. And because many are used to chaos, peace can feel underwhelming at first. Maturity learns the difference. There is also self-energy. What atmosphere do you bring? Do people relax near you or brace? Do conversations expand or shrink? Do others feel judged, used, ignored, managed, rushed, or heard, respected, safe, calm? Reading people becomes stronger when you read the effect you create too, because everyone influences rooms, not only others.
Some people complain about toxic energy everywhere, while carrying tension into every interaction themselves. Awareness must include the mirror. Another powerful signal. Observe congruence between mood and message. Someone says they are happy for you, but energy contracts. Someone says they are fine, but atmosphere becomes cold. Someone says no problem, but resentment fills the room. Someone says they care, but attention feels absent. Words matter, but state often reveals the truer sentence. Many conflicts persist because people respond to words and ignore energy. The sentence says peace, the body says war. Trust the full communication. There is also pace. Hurried people often spread hurry. Anxious people spread anxiety. Calm people slow nervous systems nearby. Secure people reduce the need for performance. This is why leaders matter. Parents matter. Partners matter. One regulated person can stabilize many. One chaotic person can destabilize many. State multiplies socially. Another elite insight. Your body can be a sensor if trained well. Not obeyed blindly, but respected wisely. If you repeatedly feel small around someone, why? If you repeatedly feel confused after speaking with them, why? If you repeatedly feel energized after contact, why? If you repeatedly feel tension before seeing them, why? Patterns in bodily response deserve investigation. Sometimes they reveal your wounds. Sometimes they reveal their patterns. Either way, useful information appears. There is another subtle cue. People who need constant attention often distort room energy. They redirect focus, interrupt flow, make moments about themselves, create mini-drama when ignored, compete with others' joy, fish for reassurance. Even if charming, rooms become tiring because everyone is feeding one person's unmet need. True confidence does not need to drain the room to feel alive. It contributes more than it consumes. That distinction matters. There are also people whose kindness is strategic, warm only when observed, generous only when useful, affectionate only when wanting access, supportive only when you are valuable to them. The energy of strategic kindness often feels transactional over time. You sense invisible invoices coming later. Healthy generosity feels freer. No subtle pressure, no hidden demand attached. Another truth: if you are constantly dysregulated yourself, you will misread energy often. When anxious, neutral people can seem hostile. When insecure, confident people can seem arrogant. When ashamed, boundaries can feel rejection. When lonely, manipulative warmth can feel like love. This is why calm people read rooms faster. Their inner noise is lower. Perception improves when projection decreases. That is the next chapter's power. But before that, one more law. Need can fake many energies. Need for approval, need for money, need for access, need for status, need for attraction. When people need something from you, they may bring warmth temporarily, charm temporarily, patience temporarily. The real test often comes when they no longer need you, when the benefit ends, when the transaction closes, when power shifts. Then energy changes and character becomes visible. Because need can imitate virtue, freedom reveals truth.
Chapter 4. Watch what they do when they don't need you.
Many people are kind when they need something. That is not a deep insight. That is ordinary human behavior. People can be warm when they want access, attentive when they want approval, generous when they want leverage, romantic when they want attachment, respectful when they want opportunity, patient when they want reward. Need can create excellent manners. This is why surface charm is not enough evidence of character. Some people only know who someone is while that person is pursuing them, impressing them, trying to gain trust, trying to be chosen, trying to close the deal, trying to keep the connection alive. But pursuit is often performance-heavy. The real reading begins later. When comfort arrives, when access is secure, when the prize is obtained, when the benefit slows, when there is nothing obvious to gain, that is when truth breathes easier. This chapter may save years of confusion, because many people judge people at the exact time those people are most motivated to look good. The early stage, the selling stage, the needing stage. And then they feel shocked when reality appears later. But beginnings are often edited. Comfort reveals defaults. Think of relationships. At first, quick replies, deep interest, effort, attention, planning, curiosity, warmth. Then, after commitment, replies slow, listening fades, presence weakens, consideration becomes optional. Why? Because some people were not expressing love. They were expressing pursuit.
Once access felt secure, true habits returned. This does not mean everyone changes badly. Healthy people often become more genuine and deeper over time. But unhealthy people often reduce effort once reward is gained. That difference matters. Many confuse the thrill of being wanted with the value of being respected. Want can chase you intensely. Respect sustains you consistently. There is also business. A person is highly responsive before payment. After payment, unreachable. A colleague praises you while needing help. Later, dismisses you publicly. A friend is available when lonely. Absent when fulfilled. These are not random disappointments. They are motive shifts. When the motive ends, behavior changes. And behavior changes reveal what was powering kindness. This is why motive literacy matters. Ask quietly, what benefit exists here? Attention? Money? Access? Image? Support? Connection? Convenience? There is nothing wrong with mutual benefit. Most relationships contain exchange.
The danger is pretending exchange is devotion. Pretending convenience is loyalty. Pretending pursuit is character. Pretending need is love. Another elite test? Watch how people treat those who cannot help them. Service workers, strangers, quiet people, people below them socially, those with no status to offer, those who disagree politely, those who are no longer useful. This is powerful because when no reward exists, performance motivation drops. Then default respect appears. Some people flatter upward and kick downward, polite to power, cruel to vulnerability, warm to advantage, cold to inconvenience. That pattern should be taken seriously because someday you too may lose usefulness in their eyes, and then you will meet their default. Another hidden signal? Observe how people behave after receiving help. Do they become entitled, forgetful, dismissive? Do they vanish until next need? Do they show gratitude only performatively? Or do they remember, reciprocate, respect effort, value your time? The way someone handles help reveals inner structure. Grateful people tend to sustain relationships better. Entitled people consume them. There is also the loyalty test. How do they treat absent people who once mattered? An ex-friend, former mentor, past partner, old colleague? Do they rewrite history cruelly? Mock what once benefited them? Expose private things now that access is gone? If so, take note. Some people honor people only while receiving from them. Once the relationship ends, dignity ends too.
That tells you how they may handle you later. Another painful truth. Some people only love what you provide, not who you are. Your attention, your stability, your admiration, your money, your emotional labor, your beauty, your network, your usefulness. When provision changes, affection changes. This can be heartbreaking if unseen, but visible if observed. Ask, if I stopped giving this one thing, would respect remain? Would kindness remain? Would interest remain? Would effort remain? Not always fully, but meaningfully. This question protects many futures. There is another subtle clue. Watch people when they lose leverage over you. When you say no, set boundaries, need them less, become busier, stop over-explaining, stop chasing, start seeing clearly. Some people become colder immediately. Why? Because access was their source of warmth. Once control decreases, energy changes. Healthy people can handle your independence. Unhealthy people often resent it. This is why growth exposes relationships. As you heal, people who depended on your confusion may become uncomfortable. There is also the test of inconvenience. Anyone can be kind when it costs nothing. Real character appears when kindness becomes inconvenient. When tired, busy, stressed, delayed, annoyed, when no one is watching, when they gain nothing, can they still be decent? Not perfect, decent. That standard alone filters much noise. Some people are wonderful in ideal conditions, then collapse into disrespect under pressure. You are not dating ideal conditions. You are meeting their capacity. Another elite principle: observe recovery after mistakes. Everyone fails sometimes, forgets, becomes short-tempered, acts immaturely. The question is not perfection. The question is response. Do they repair, reflect, take accountability, adjust patterns, or only apologize to restore access? Many people are skilled at apology theater. Tears, words, promises, emotion, then unchanged behavior. Do not rate remorse by intensity. Rate it by altered pattern. Change is the language of sincerity. Another truth: need can imitate confidence too. Some people appear bold while pursuing benefit, flirtatious, assertive, highly social. Then once nothing is to gain, energy collapses. Because it was not grounded confidence. It was motivated performance. Real confidence remains stable whether there is reward or not. It does not require an audience or prize to exist. There is also friendship reading. Who checks on you when you have nothing exciting happening? Who supports without public credit? Who celebrates when you rise? Who remains when you are less useful socially? Who can enjoy your presence without extracting from you? These people are rare and worth protecting. Many chase magnetic people, then overlook reliable people. That is costly. Excitement attracts. Consistency sustains. There is another advanced signal. Watch how people behave when you are unavailable. Do they respect timing or guilt you? Do they communicate cleanly or punish distance? Do they remain stable or create chaos to regain attention? People reveal attachment style and emotional maturity quickly when denied immediate access. Boundaries are mirrors. They show others to themselves, and you to you. If you keep boundaries, truth appears faster. If you remove boundaries to keep peace, confusion lasts longer. Some people ask, how do I know if someone is genuine? Simple beginning. Would they still be this way if they needed nothing from me? Not perfect certainty, but useful direction. Would they still respect me? Still speak well of me? Still care somewhat? Still act decently? Still value my humanity? If the answer feels doubtful, proceed carefully. There is also self-reflection here. Do you become warm only when wanting something? Attentive only when lonely? Respectful only when needing help? Kind only when observed? We judge others sharply for patterns we sometimes excuse in ourselves. Integrity starts inward. Become the kind of person whose decency survives changing incentives. That creates uncommon trust. Another painful lesson. Some people are not evil, just transactional. And if you expect devotion from transactional people, you will suffer. See clearly, then choose accordingly. Not everyone deserves deep access. Some deserve polite distance. Some deserve collaboration only. Some deserve caution. Some deserve closeness. Wisdom is accurate placement. Still, even when motives are clear, another layer can distort behavior badly. Insecurity. Because some people do not exploit out of strategy alone. They overtalk, interrupt, compete, gossip, need attention, pretend superiority. All because weakness inside is begging for disguise. And if you do not understand insecurity, you may mistake noise for strength. Chapter 5. Hidden Insecurity Signals. Not every loud person is strong. Not every confident-looking person is confident. Not every dominant presence is secure. Some of the noisiest people in any room are carrying the quietest fears. And if you learn to read insecurity, you stop being intimidated by performance. You stop mistaking volume for value. You stop calling chaos confidence. This chapter matters because insecurity rarely introduces itself honestly. It does not say, "I feel small. I fear being overlooked. I do not feel enough. I need validation." Instead, it disguises itself as arrogance, as constant proving, as attention hunger, as gossip, as superiority, as controlling behavior, as endless comparison, as contempt for others, as needing to be seen at all times. This is why many people are fooled by surface signals. They think, that person is powerful. That person is above everyone. That person is fearless. Sometimes, but often they are heavily defended, and defense can look impressive to the untrained eye. The first signal of hidden insecurity: constant bragging. Healthy confidence rarely needs repetitive announcement. It does not need to remind every room how valuable it is, how rich it is,
How desired it is, how connected it is, how intelligent it is. Secure people may share achievements naturally, but they do not feed on mention. Insecure people often cannot let silence hold them. They fill it with proof. Because if they stop proving, they must feel what remains underneath: emptiness, doubt, fear of being ordinary. Watch for people who mention status too often, money too often, attention too often, names too often. They may be speaking to themselves more than to you. Another signal: interrupting constantly. Some people interrupt because they are excited, but repeated interruption can reveal something deeper: fear of being unseen, need to dominate space, inability to tolerate not being center, anxiety that someone else's voice reduces their value. Secure people can let others finish. They trust there will still be room for them. Insecure people often experience conversation as competition. Every pause feels like loss. Every spotlight elsewhere feels threat. So they seize airtime. Another common signal: one-upmanship. You mentioned stress. They had worse. You mentioned progress. They did more. You share joy. They redirect to themselves. You tell a story. They need a bigger one.
This is not confidence. It is scarcity in disguise. The belief that value is limited, that if you shine, they dim. Secure people can celebrate others without shrinking. Insecure people often struggle to witness others winning peacefully. There is also gossip. Many assume gossip is harmless social habit. Sometimes it is. Often, it is insecurity seeking elevation cheaply. If I lower them, I feel higher. If I expose flaws, mine feels smaller. If I create alliance through negativity, I feel belonging. Watch people who bond mainly through tearing others down. It reveals weak identity, needing borrowed superiority. And remember, those who constantly carry others to you often carry you elsewhere too. Another signal, mocking vulnerability. Some people laugh at sincerity, dismiss emotions, ridicule effort, call kindness weak, call healing soft. Why? Because what they cannot access comfortably, they attack. It is easier to mock depth than admit fear of it. Easier to dismiss tenderness than risk needing it. Easier to laugh at growth than face stagnation. Contempt is often insecurity protecting itself from exposure. Another elite cue, overreaction to criticism. Secure people may dislike criticism, but they can often sort signal from noise. Insecure people frequently collapse or attack. A small correction feels like identity assault. A suggestion becomes disrespect. Feedback becomes humiliation. Why? Because when worth is unstable, any negative input feels catastrophic. The person is not protecting an idea. They are protecting a fragile self-concept. This matters in relationships and work. People who cannot receive truth become expensive to engage. Another sign? Needing constant reassurance. Again, all humans need reassurance sometimes, but chronic reassurance hunger can reveal identity outsourced to others. Do I look okay? Are we okay? Do you still like me? Did I do enough? Was that good? Am I important? When self-worth lives externally, others become emotional landlords, and no amount of praise satisfies for long, because the whole is internal. There is also performative dominance. Some people try to appear powerful through intimidation, harsh tone, unnecessary aggression, control of minor things, rigid posturing, making others uncomfortable for sport. This can fool many, but real strength rarely needs random displays. If someone must constantly create fear to feel significant, they are borrowing power. Borrowed power requires constant collection. True power is steadier, quieter, less desperate to be seen. Another subtle signal? Jealous humor, backhanded compliments. Wow, you actually did well. Must be nice. You changed. I guess some people get lucky. These phrases often hide discomfort with another person's rise, because envy rarely speaks plainly. It leaks sideways. Secure people can praise cleanly. Insecure people often mix praise with poison. Watch the aftertaste of words. There is also obsession with image. Some people care more about appearing successful than being stable. More about seeming confident than becoming grounded. More about looking desired than building healthy love. More about public perception than private integrity. This can produce polished lives with hollow interiors. Reading people means noticing where energy goes, toward substance or toward optics. Another powerful clue? They need enemies. Some insecure identities depend on opposition. Someone to look down on, someone to blame, someone to compete with, someone to obsess over. Without enemies, they must meet themselves. So conflict becomes fuel. Drama becomes identity maintenance. These people can feel exciting initially, then exhausting later. There is another truth. Insecurity can also hide in excessive pleasing. Not only arrogance. Some people over-agree, over-accommodate, fear boundaries, need everyone to like them, cannot tolerate disapproval. This too is insecurity, just expressed softly. The common root is the same. My worth feels unstable. One person dominates to survive, another disappears to survive. Different costumes, same wound. This is why wise people do not judge only
Style. They study roots. Another elite principle: observe how someone handles another person's success. Do they celebrate, withdraw, compete suddenly, minimize it, change subject, mock it later? Your success can expose what someone believes about themselves. Many friendships break not under hardship, but under unequal growth, because one person's rise activates another's insecurity. This is painful, but useful to understand. There is also time inconsistency. Some insecure people appear bold in crowds, then anxious alone. Grand online, empty offline. Magnetic in short bursts, draining in sustained closeness. Why? Because performance is energy intensive. Masks tire eventually. Time reveals what moments can hide. This is why patience protects you. Do not read people from snapshots. Read them across seasons. There is a practical method. When someone impresses you, pause and ask, do I admire substance or performance? Do they create peace or pressure? Can they celebrate others? Can they receive correction? Do they need constant attention? Does their confidence remain without audience? These questions cut through glamour. Another mirror truth. Everyone has insecurities somewhere. Even strong people. Even kind people. Even accomplished people. The goal is not perfection. The goal is awareness. Healthy people know their insecurities and manage them responsibly. Unhealthy people export them onto everyone nearby. That difference changes everything.
There is also compassion here. Do not become cruel toward insecure people. Many are hurting. Many learned masks because softness once felt unsafe. But compassion does not require blindness. You can understand pain and still protect peace. You can empathize and still keep boundaries. You can wish them healing and still keep distance. That is mature compassion. Another powerful realization. When you see insecurity clearly, many people stop intimidating you. The bully becomes frightened. The braggart becomes hungry. The mocker becomes wounded. The controller becomes afraid. The gossip becomes empty. You no longer worship costumes. You see the actor trembling inside them, and clarity dissolves fear. Still, seeing others clearly requires something more. Your own emotions must be calm enough to notice. Because if you are triggered, desperate, lonely, impressed too quickly, or seeking approval, your perception gets distorted. You may chase the loud person, miss the grounded one, trust the polished one, ignore the steady one. Emotion can blind intelligence. And calm people read rooms faster for a reason.
Chapter 6. Calm people read rooms faster. Most people think reading people is about studying others. Body language, tone, eye contact, signals, micro behaviors. That matters. But one of the biggest reasons people misread others has nothing to do with them. It has to do with themselves, their own emotional noise. Because perception becomes distorted when you are desperate, triggered, lonely, impressed too quickly, hungry for approval, afraid of rejection, obsessed with being liked, carrying unresolved pain. When inner noise is loud, outer signals become blurry. You do not see people as they are. You see people through your need. This is why calm people read rooms faster. Not because they are magical, because they are less emotionally crowded inside, and emptier lenses see clearer. Imagine a glass of muddy water. Shake it. Everything inside becomes unclear. Wait. Let it settle. Now you can see through it. That is the human mind. When emotions are constantly stirred, judgment weakens. You mistake charm for character, intensity for connection, attention for love, confidence for competence, silence for rejection, boundaries for disrespect, neutral faces for hostility. You do not read reality. You read distortion. This is why some people keep choosing the wrong people repeatedly. It is not lack of intelligence. It is inner turbulence.
A lonely person may trust fast warmth. An insecure person may worship flashy confidence. A wounded person may normalize chaos. A desperate person may ignore obvious red flags. A triggered person may invent danger where none exists. Emotion bends perception. Calmness straightens it. There is a reason predators often seek dysregulated people. People starving for validation. People rushing intimacy. People needing rescue. People who cannot tolerate solitude. People who fear losing anyone. Because urgency weakens observation. Need makes lies believable. Calm people are harder to deceive. They are not rushing for connection, not begging to be chosen, not hypnotized by surface energy. They can watch, wait, assess. That patience creates clarity. Another truth? Triggered people make rooms about themselves. Someone looks serious?
They must dislike me. Someone is quiet. I did something wrong. Someone delays response. They are losing interest. Someone sets boundary. They are rejecting me. Everything becomes personal. This blocks accurate reading. Because many things in rooms are not about you at all. Someone may be tired, distracted, worried about family, thinking deeply, socially anxious, managing pain silently. But self-focused insecurity interprets everything through identity threat. Calm people personalize less, so they perceive more. There is also pace. Reactive people rush conclusions. One look, one delayed text, one awkward sentence, one mood shift, and they create stories immediately. Calm people tolerate uncertainty longer. They do not need instant answers for every signal. They gather data, observe patterns, wait for consistency. This is elite social intelligence, because many people suffer from conclusions drawn too early. Patience is perception's ally. Another advantage of calmness: you notice subtleties. When you are anxious, attention narrows toward threat. You miss nuance. You miss contradictions. You miss kindness. You miss context. You miss timing. You miss your own role. But when grounded, you notice how someone treats staff, how they speak when no gain exists, how they react to others' success, how they recover after mistakes, how their energy changes under pressure. Calmness widens the lens, and wider lenses catch truth faster. There is also emotional contagion. Rooms have currents. One insecure person can pull others into proving. One dramatic person can spread urgency. One angry person can infect tone. One manipulative person can create confusion. Reactive people absorb these states quickly. Calm people notice them without merging fully. That is powerful. You can enter a chaotic room, feel the chaos, yet not become chaos. This preserves judgment. Many leaders are trusted not because they know most, but because they regulate best. Their calmness becomes anchor. Another hidden gift: calm people ask better questions. Reactive minds ask, do they like me? Am I losing them? How do I impress them? What if I look foolish? How do I win this? Grounded minds ask, are they consistent? Are they kind? Are they stable? Do I respect their character? What is the pattern here? Is this healthy for me?
Notice the difference. One set of questions seeks approval. The other seeks truth. The questions you ask determine what you see. There is also silence tolerance. Many people fear silence, so they overtalk, overshare, reveal too much too early, fill every gap with nervous words. This prevents observation. Silence is where signals become visible. Who gets uncomfortable? Who rushes to impress? Who needs attention? Who can simply be present? Calm people can sit in silence without panic. That makes them dangerous readers of character, because people reveal themselves when no one is performing for noise. Another truth: if you need everyone to like you, you cannot read them honestly. You will ignore what threatens belonging. You will excuse disrespect, minimize manipulation, romanticize inconsistency, because truth risks loss, and needy minds often choose comfort over clarity. Calm people can afford honesty internally. They would rather lose illusion than keep confusion. That freedom sharpens perception. There is another advanced principle. Emotional neutrality helps detect motive. When you want something badly, love, attention, money, approval, partnership, you may overlook motive conflicts in others. You want yes so much, you stop studying why they say yes. Calm people still desire things, but desire does not blind them as easily. They can ask, what do they gain? What changes when I set limits? Who are they when no reward exists? This is why detachment is not coldness. It is clean vision. There is also self-regulation during conflict. When tension rises, most people stop reading and start reacting. They defend,
Attack. Explain excessively. Prove. Withdraw. Calm people still notice in conflict. They watch what criticism brings out. Accountability, contempt, deflection, humility, manipulation. Conflict becomes information, not only pain.
This can save years, because many masks survive peace, but pressure tears them. Another mirror truth: to read rooms faster, become easier to read positively yourself. Steady tone, present attention, comfortable pauses, clear boundaries, low neediness, measured responses. People trust calm nervous systems. Your own regulation shapes what others reveal around you. Chaotic presence often invites guardedness. Grounded presence invites truth. There is another trap. Some mistake numbness for calmness. Detached, cold, emotionally absent. That is not wisdom. That is shutdown. Real calmness feels alive, warm, aware, flexible, capable of feeling deeply without drowning, capable of caring without collapsing, capable of firmness without rage. This state reads people best because it includes both mind and humanity. How do you build it? Slow your pace. Protect sleep. Reduce overstimulation. Heal desperation. Learn solitude. Breathe before entering rooms. Delay conclusions. Observe before speaking. Value truth more than approval. These habits compound into perception. Another powerful phrase: the calmer you become, the less people can hide behind your projections. When you are chaotic, others can disappear inside your confusion. When you are clear, they stand exposed faster. That is why inner work creates outer wisdom. Still, even calm observers miss something critical if they only study obvious behavior. Sometimes truth hides in tiny delays. The pause before someone answers, the hesitation before agreement, the split second where strategy catches up to instinct. Those small moments often say more than long speeches, because sometimes truth appears right before words arrive. Chapter 7: The Pause Before They Answer. Many people only hear answers. Smart observers hear the silence before them, because sometimes the most revealing part of communication is not the sentence, it is the pause that comes first. That tiny hesitation, that extra second, that visible delay, that subtle breath, that moment where the mind searches, edits, calculates, protects, decides. Truth often appears there, not because every pause means lying, not because hesitation automatically proves guilt. Life is more intelligent than simple rules. Some people pause because they think carefully, because they care about accuracy, because they are emotionally overwhelmed, because they process slower, because they are introverted, because they do not want to harm others carelessly. So wisdom is required. But pauses still matter, especially when compared to baseline, especially when topics change, especially when pressure enters, especially when certain questions create different timing than everything else. That is where social intelligence begins. Most people prepare words. Few prepare the milliseconds before them. When someone is relaxed and aligned, answers often flow differently. There is less internal traffic, less conflict between truth and image, less need to manage perception. But when someone feels cornered, exposed, caught, unsure, manipulative, ashamed, or calculating, the system often needs extra time. Not always, but often enough to notice. This is why you do not read the pause alone. You read the pause plus context, the pause plus pattern, the pause plus what follows. For example, someone answers everything naturally. Then one simple question creates unusual delay. That shift may matter. Someone speaks freely about many topics, but freezes when accountability appears. That may matter. Someone quickly says yes to everything beneficial, but hesitates when responsibility is requested. That may matter. The signal is not delay itself. The signal is selective delay. Another elite principle. There are different kinds of pauses. The reflective pause, the defensive pause, the strategic pause, the emotional pause, the manipulative pause. Learning to feel the difference changes everything. The reflective pause often feels grounded. The person is searching honestly, thinking, wanting precision, no strange tension attached. The defensive pause feels tighter. Eyes shift, body stiffens, tone changes after. The person seems to protect something. The strategic pause feels edited, as if a committee inside is writing a usable answer. The emotional pause can carry sadness, shock, overwhelm. The manipulative pause sometimes feels theatrical, timed for effect, designed to gain sympathy, suspense, power. Again, no single clue convicts anyone, but repeated patterns teach you volumes. There is another truth. People reveal values in how fast they answer certain things. Quick to promise, slow to commit. Quick to ask favors, slow to reciprocate. Quick to criticize, slow to apologize. Quick to explain themselves, slow to hear you. Quick to want access, slow to offer consistency. Timing reveals priorities. Many people study statements. Wise people study speed, because speed often exposes desire, and delay often exposes reluctance. Watch where energy flows easily. There is also the pause after boundaries. You say no. You ask for respect. You request clarity. You request access. Then watch. Some people answer cleanly. Understood. No drama, no punishment, no confusion tactics. Others pause, then reshape. Coldness appears. Guilt appears. Pressure appears. Victim posture appears. Anger appears. The pause after boundaries can reveal entitlement fast. Healthy people may dislike limits sometimes, but they can often respect them. Unhealthy people often treat your boundaries as a tax on their comfort. That difference matters. Another elite cue. Notice when someone repeats your question before answering. Sometimes this is thoughtful processing. Sometimes it is time buying. What do I want long term? Why did I do that? Was I honest? Repeating can be neutral or strategic. Again, compare with baseline. Do they often do this, or only when stakes rise? Patterns over moments, always. There is another powerful place pauses reveal truth. Relationships. You ask, do you see a future here? Pause. I care about you. Notice, that may be affection without commitment. You ask, did that message mean something? Pause. You're overthinking. Notice, that may be avoidance replacing clarity. You ask, are you happy with me? Pause. I'm just stressed. Maybe true. Maybe partial truth. The pause invites you to listen deeper than the first sentence. Many people hear any answer as resolution. Mature people hear alignment. Does the answer meet the question honestly or slide away from it? Some responses are words without contact. They speak, yet never touch the real point. That too is information. There is also conflict. When confronted with harm, some pause because conscience is present. They reflect, feel impact, search for accountability. Others pause because strategy is present. How do I escape blame? How do I reverse this? How do I make them doubt themselves? How do I become victim quickly? Same silence, different inner worlds. This is why calmness matters. Triggered people miss these distinctions. They are too busy defending or pleading. Calm people can watch process. Another truth. You also reveal yourself in pauses. When asked simple truths, do you freeze because you fear honesty? When boundaries are needed, do you hesitate because approval owns you? When opportunities appear,
When do you pause from self-doubt? When apologies are needed, do pride and silence delay repair? Reading others should deepen reading yourself, too. Some pauses are where life waits for your courage. There is another subtle sign. When someone pauses, then gives excessive detail. Sometimes detail is sincerity. Sometimes it is camouflage. Truth can be simple. Fabrication often needs furniture. Long explanations do not automatically mean lying, but complexity where simplicity would do can be data, especially repeated data. Another elite principle. The first answer is not always the real answer. Sometimes the first answer protects image. The second answer reveals truth. This is why silence after their response matters too. Do not rush to fill it. Let the space remain. Many people expose more because others cannot tolerate silence. You ask one question, they answer partially. You stay quiet. Then they continue and reveal what words initially hid. Silence is not emptiness. It is pressure. Used wisely, it invites honesty. There is also social settings. Someone jokes easily in groups, then pauses heavily one-on-one when depth appears. Perhaps image strength, weak intimacy. Someone appears dominant publicly, then hesitates privately when directness is needed. Perhaps performance confidence, not grounded confidence. Rooms can hide or expose different versions of people. Watch contrast across contexts. Another truth. Not every hidden thing is malicious. Some pauses hide pain, trauma, fear, embarrassment, unspoken grief, difficulty trusting. Do not become cynical. The goal is not to catch people. The goal is to understand them accurately. Sometimes a pause asks for compassion. Sometimes caution. Discernment chooses which. How do you train this skill? Slow down conversations. Listen fully. Notice timing changes. Observe body shifts around pauses. Watch whether answers meet questions. Stay comfortable in silence. Trust repeated patterns more than isolated moments. And most importantly, do not need immediate closure. Neediness rushes interpretation. Patience lets truth emerge. There is a powerful phrase. People tell you a lot in what they avoid answering directly. Remember it, because some lives are wasted chasing clear answers from people committed to fog. When fog is repeated, that itself is an answer. Still, pauses and hesitations are only part of the picture. Many people speak smoothly, answer quickly, move confidently, appear certain. Yet something still feels false. Because confidence itself can be imitated. And one of the biggest mistakes people make is trusting loud certainty over quiet substance. There is fake confidence, and there is real confidence. They look similar to the untrained eye, but they are worlds apart.
Chapter 8. Fake confidence versus real confidence. Confidence is one of the most misunderstood traits in human behavior. Many people think confidence means being loud, speaking first, dominating rooms, never doubting yourself, always having answers, always looking certain, always winning attention. That is one version people admire, but often it is performance confidence, not rooted confidence. And if you cannot tell the difference, you may trust the wrong people, follow the wrong leaders, choose the wrong partners, fear the wrong personalities. Because fake confidence can look powerful at first. Real confidence often reveals itself slower. This chapter can save you from many expensive mistakes. The first truth: fake confidence usually needs witnesses. It wants to be seen, validated, admired, reacted to. It grows stronger in crowds, on cameras, in competitive rooms, around impressionable people. Without audience, it often weakens. Real confidence exists privately too. It appears in empty rooms, in lonely seasons, in quiet discipline, in decisions no one applauds, in standards no one sees, in peace without attention. A person who only feels powerful when watched is borrowing confidence from spectators. Another difference: fake confidence talks often about itself, its success, its standards, its strength, its mindset, its value, its uniqueness. It keeps announcing identity. Real confidence has less need to advertise.
It may share naturally, but it does not survive on mention. Because what is deeply owned does not need constant declaration. The tree does not scream that it is tall. It simply stands. There is also reaction to challenge. Fake confidence becomes irritated when questioned, corrected, ignored, outperformed, disagreed with. It treats challenge as insult. Why? Because beneath the surface is insecurity, and insecurity depends on image protection. Real confidence can tolerate friction better. It may disagree firmly, but it does not collapse because another mind exists. It can say, "Maybe I'm wrong. Teach me. Good point. I hadn't considered that." That humility is strength, not weakness. Weak egos fear learning. Strong identities can update. Another signal: fake confidence rushes to dominate space, interrupts, name drops, overclaims, uses forceful posture excessively, needs the room to feel its presence. Real confidence often takes space without stealing it. It can be quiet and still noticeable, not because it performs harder, because steadiness has gravity. People feel what does not need to chase attention. There is another clue: how someone treats weaker positions. Staff, beginners, children, people with less status, people who cannot benefit them. Fake confidence often punches downward. It needs easier targets to feel large. Real confidence usually has less interest in humiliating others. It does not need borrowed superiority. It can be firm without cruelty. This matters more than charisma. Many charming people are unsafe. Many quieter people are deeply solid. Another elite truth: fake confidence loves certainty theater. Absolute statements, overpromising, speaking beyond knowledge, never admitting limits, always sounding sure. This can attract people because certainty feels relieving. But life is complex. Mature minds know nuance. Real confidence can say, "I don't know yet. I need more information. I was wrong. It depends."
Let's learn. That honesty may look less flashy, but it is far more trustworthy. There is also pace. Fake confidence often moves with urgency. Fast talking, fast promises, fast intimacy, fast decisions, fast pressure. It tries to overwhelm hesitation. Real confidence can move with patience. It does not fear time, because truth improves with time. Only fragile things demand rush. This is why manipulative people often accelerate connection, and grounded people respect process. Watch pace carefully. Another sign. Fake confidence is highly comparative, always measuring status. Who has more? Who is smarter? Who got attention? Who won? Who lost? It lives in invisible competitions. Real confidence competes more with standards than strangers. It asks, am I aligned? Am I growing? Am I keeping promises? Comparison weakens when identity strengthens. There is another subtle distinction. Fake confidence often cannot apologize cleanly, because apology feels like shrinkage. So it blames, deflects, explains excessively, turns tables, uses charm instead of repair. Real confidence can own impact. I hurt you. I handled that poorly. You were right. I need to improve. That requires sturdier self-worth than domination ever will. Many people fear apologizing because they confuse fault with worthlessness. Strong people know mistakes do not erase value. Another cue. Fake confidence is addicted to being impressive. It wants entrance moments, memorable lines, image control, winning every conversation.
Real confidence values being effective more than impressive. Sometimes effectiveness looks simple. Listening, consistency, showing up, keeping calm, doing the work. The world often notices later, but reality rewards it more. There is also emotional texture. Fake confidence can feel tense, sharp, slightly performative, like something is being held up constantly. Real confidence often feels relaxed, not lazy, relaxed. Less inner argument, less proving pressure, less need to manage perception every second. This is why some people seem magnetic, doing very little. Their nervous system is not begging. That steadiness attracts trust. Another advanced truth. Some fake confidence is trauma armor. A person once felt powerless, humiliated, ignored, small. So they built a persona, untouchable, always right, always strong, always dominant. Do not become cruel towards such people. Many are protecting old pain. But compassion should not make you blind. Armor still cuts people nearby. You can understand wounds and still require accountability. There is also quiet fake confidence, not loud arrogance, but subtle superiority, dismissive calm, condescending intelligence, performative mystery, acting above emotion, acting too cool to care.
This, too, can hide insecurity. Real confidence does not need to seem above humanity. It can laugh, feel, care, be warm. Need help sometimes? Humanity is not weakness. Pretending not to need it often is. Another practical test. Remove applause. Remove money display. Remove status symbols. Remove flirting attention. Remove followers. Remove the room. Who remains? That answer often shows true confidence. Would they still respect themselves? Still move with discipline? Still have values? Still be kind? Still be stable? If not, confidence may have been rented. There is another powerful clue: how someone handles your success. Fake confidence may compete, minimize, withdraw, make it about them. Real confidence can celebrate without self-loss, because your rise does not threaten rooted identity. This single test reveals much in friendships and love. Many relationships fail not because people were evil, but because one person's growth exposed another's insecurity. Another mirror truth: how much of your confidence is real? Do you need attention to feel valuable? Need praise to stay motivated? Need to look certain to feel safe? Need to win to feel worthy? Need to be admired to feel alive? Everyone has some performance layers. Maturity is noticing them, then building substance underneath. Private discipline, integrity, self-respect, competence, emotional regulation, promises kept alone. That creates confidence no crowd can give or remove. There is a phrase worth remembering: noise can imitate strength, but only substance survives silence. Many people will impress you briefly. Few will feel trustworthy over time. Train your eye for time, not moments. Patterns, not entrances. Character, not posture. Peace, not performance. Still, even confidence itself can mislead if you only judge appearances. Because some people master the mask well. They know how to look right, sound right, play the role. But if you study one deeper layer, everything becomes clearer. Motive. What they want. What they gain. What hunger is driving behavior. Because once motive is visible, masks become much harder to believe. Chapter 9. Read motives, not masks. Most people study personalities. Smart people study motives. Because personalities can be polished, charming, intelligent, funny, warm, mysterious, confident, even wounded in attractive ways. But motive sits underneath all of it, quietly directing behavior, choosing timing, selecting words, deciding effort. And once you understand motive, behavior stops feeling confusing. Many people waste years asking, why would they do that? Why are they inconsistent? Why are they warm one day and cold the next? Why do they say one thing and act another way? Why did they change after getting close? Often the answer is simple. The motive changed. When the reason for behavior changes with it. This is why masks fool people. Masks show style. Motives reveal engine. A person can look caring, but be seeking control. Look generous, but be buying loyalty. Look confident, but be hunting validation. Look spiritual, but be craving superiority. Look wounded, but be avoiding accountability. Look interested, but be lonely rather than committed. If you only study presentation, you miss propulsion. Another truth. People usually move toward one of a few recurring motives: attention, control, security, status, pleasure, belonging, relief, access, validation, meaning. These motives are human, not evil by default. Everyone has motives. The question is whether motives are conscious, ethical, balanced, honest, or hidden, manipulative, selfish, destructive. That difference changes everything. Let's begin with attention. Some people do not want depth. They want stimulation, response, reaction, being wanted, being chased, being centered in someone else's mind. They may flirt intensely, disappear, return suddenly, create confusion, post strategically, keep options open. Why? Because attention feeds identity, not because connection is sacred to them. If you mistake attention seeking for affection, you suffer. Read motive. Do they want you, or do they want to feel wanted? Huge difference. Then control. Some people are less interested in love than leverage. They need to set emotional temperature, decide pace, keep you uncertain, punish boundaries, reward compliance, withdraw to regain power, return when losing influence. Why? Because control soothes insecurity. If someone repeatedly destabilizes you while stable themselves, study motive. This may not be romance. It may be regulation through dominance. Another motive? Status. Some people choose friends, partners, rooms, opportunities, not by values, by optics. How it looks, who it impresses, what it signals. They may treat you wonderfully in private, poorly in public, warm when useful socially, cool when status shifts. Why? Because image ranks above intimacy. These people can seem ambitious. Sometimes they are. But when status outranks character, relationships become transactions. Another motive? Security. This one is more complex. Some people stay with others, not from love, but fear of being alone, fear of starting over, fear of instability, fear of losing lifestyle, fear of abandonment. They may say all the right words, sincerely enough, yet remain half present. Because safety, not devotion, is the main engine. Compassion matters here, but clarity matters too. Someone can care about you and still mainly use you as shelter. Then, pleasure. Some people move by novelty, chemistry, excitement, entertainment. They love beginnings, intensity, the chase, the rush, but not maintenance, not consistency, not ordinary devotion. When pleasure is primary motive, interest often fades when effort becomes routine.
Many people call these people confusing. Often they are predictable once motive is seen. Another motive? Validation. Some people need mirrors more than partners. They collect admiration, need compliments, need being desired, need being envied, need proof they still have it. They may enter relationships not to build love, but to medicate emptiness. You feel used because you were. Used as reflection, not known as person. There is also belonging. Some behaviors are driven by tribe pressure. A person changes around certain friends, acts colder publicly, becomes bolder in groups, hides softness where approval would be lost. Why? Belonging motive can overpower authenticity.
people do things they would never choose alone. Reading motive means noticing context shifts. Who are they when no audience exists? Who are they when identity groups are absent? Another truth? Motives often reveal themselves through sacrifice. What will they inconvenience themselves for? Truth or image? You or comfort? Growth or ego? Peace or drama? Values are easy verbally. Sacrifice shows ranking. A person says family matters, but sacrifices family for status repeatedly. Motive? Visible. A person says honesty matters, but sacrifices truth when embarrassed. Motive? Visible. A person says love matters, but sacrifices connection to keep control. Motive? Visible. Watch what they pay for. Money talks, but sacrifice speaks louder. There is another elite principle. Confusion often signals hidden motive. When words and actions clash repeatedly, something else is being served. They say commitment, act casually. They say respect,
Act dismissively. They say peace. Create chaos. They say friendship. Compete constantly. Why the contradiction? Because spoken motive is public. Real motive is private. And private motive wins behavior most days. Many people waste years debating words. Just study outcomes. What keeps happening? Outcomes expose hidden priorities. There is also timing. Why now? Why did they return now? Why apologize now? Why become affectionate now? Why suddenly care now? Sometimes timing reveals more than content. Did they come back when lonely? When rejected elsewhere? When needing help? When you began moving on? When they lost access? When opportunity appeared? Timing often points to motive. This is why desperate people are easy to manipulate. They hear the return, but ignore the timing. There is another subtle cue. How someone responds when motive is blocked. You deny attention, set boundaries, remove benefit, slow access, refuse manipulation. What happens next? Respect or resentment? Patience or pressure? Care or contempt? Blocked motive reveals hidden structure fast. Some people seem kind until denied advantage. Then cruelty appears. That cruelty was not created by your boundary. It was exposed by it. Another mirror truth. Your own motives affect reading ability. If your motive is to be chosen, you may ignore their selfish motives. If your motive is rescue, you may romanticize brokenness. If your motive is status, you may choose impressive masks. If your motive is loneliness relief, you may accept low-quality connections. To read others clearly, know what hunger inside you can be exploited. Unmet needs distort judgment. Another important distinction. Not all self-interest is evil. Healthy people have needs, goals, preferences.
Limits. The issue is concealment and exploitation. A person can honestly say, I am not ready for commitment. I want casual connection. I need time alone. I value ambition highly. That honesty allows informed choice. The damage comes when selfish motives wear false promises, when people seek benefits under borrowed language. There is another advanced clue. People often accuse others of what they themselves are hiding, calling others selfish while exploiting, calling others manipulative while controlling, calling others dishonest while deceiving. Projection is motive trying to escape detection. Do not overuse this idea, but repeated hypocrisy deserves attention. There is a practical method.
When behavior confuses you, ask 5 questions. What are they gaining? What are they avoiding? What changes when benefits disappear? What repeats regardless of promises? What would make all this behavior make sense? That last question is powerful, because once motive fits the puzzle, confusion drops. Another truth: some people do not know their own motives fully. They say they want love, but act from fear. Say they want peace, but choose chaos because chaos feels familiar. Say they want honesty, but punish truth emotionally. Humans are layered, so read gently, not cynically, yet still accurately. The goal is not suspicion, it is freedom from naivety. When you read motives, you stop taking many things personally. Their withdrawal may be cowardice, not your inadequacy. Their inconsistency may be appetite, not your unworthiness. Their coldness may be envy, not your flaw. Their charm may be strategy, not destiny. Their return may be loneliness, not revelation. This saves enormous pain. Still, seeing motives in others is only half mastery. The final level is becoming difficult to deceive yourself. Slow trust. Observe longer. Detach from charm. Respect patterns. And build a life where desperation cannot purchase blindness. Because the clearer you become within, the harder it becomes for masks to sell you anything.
Chapter 10. Become hard to deceive. Most people ask the wrong question. They ask, how do I spot liars? How do I detect fake people? How do I know who is dangerous? Those questions matter, but there is a deeper question that changes everything. How do I become difficult to deceive? Because deception does not survive only through skillful deceivers. It survives through human vulnerabilities. Loneliness, urgency, greed, ego, need for approval, fear of missing out, refusal to accept reality, desire to be chosen. If these doors stay open, many different people can walk through them. But if you close the doors, even average discernment becomes powerful. This chapter is not about paranoia. It is about building inner conditions where manipulation struggles to work. Because the safest people are not those who know every trick. They are those whose weaknesses are not easily rented. The first pillar: slow trust. Many people give trust in advance because someone is charming, attractive, successful, emotionally intense, good with words, confident, familiar. They hand over belief before evidence arrives, then feel betrayed later.
Trust should not be handed out like free samples. It should be earned through consistency, time, stress-tested behavior, accountability, how someone treats others, how they act when no reward exists. Slow trust does not mean closed heart. It means intelligent pacing. Warmth can be quick. Access should be gradual. Another pillar: need less from strangers. The more you need something urgently, love, money, validation, belonging, mentorship, opportunity, the easier it is to sell you illusions. Desperate people buy promises expensive people would question calmly. If you need to be chosen badly, you may ignore mixed signals. If you need fast money badly, you may trust fantasy offers. If you need praise badly, you may worship flattering people. Need creates blindness. reduce need, increase vision. This is why self-respect and self-sufficiency are protection systems. Another truth: believe patterns over potential. Many people are deceived not by lies, but by imagination. They create future versions of people. He will change. She means well deep down. They just need time. This is different when genuine growth is visible. But too often it is fantasy.
Replacing evidence. Potential is not proof. Intent is not pattern. Chemistry is not character. Words are not structure. Believe demonstrated reality first. Another pillar: respect discomfort. Many people sense something is off early, but override it. To seem nice, to avoid conflict, to keep excitement, to preserve fantasy, to not look judgmental. Your body often detects incongruence before logic explains it. Not every uneasy feeling is truth, but repeated unease deserves attention. Instead of silencing discomfort instantly, investigate it. What exactly feels off? Timing? Pressure? Mixed signals? Boundary resistance? Too much too soon? Something said versus something done? Discomfort can be data. Another elite principle: watch reactions to boundaries. Boundaries are truth serum. Say no. Slow down. Ask for clarity. Protect time. Refuse pressure. Then observe. Healthy people may feel disappointment, but can adapt respectfully. Manipulative people often escalate. Guilt, anger, confusion tactics, love bombing, withdrawal punishment, victim stories. Your limit did not create their character. It revealed it. This single skill filters many wrong people quickly. There is another pillar: detach from charm. Charm is pleasant,
Useful. Sometimes genuine. Sometimes dangerous. Many people mistake feeling good around someone for being safe with someone. Different things. Some of the most harmful people can be socially skilled, funny, smooth, warm at first, highly attentive. Charisma is not integrity. Excitement is not trustworthiness. Enjoy charm if you wish, but never use it as evidence of character. Let behavior do that job. Another truth: learn to tolerate disappointment quickly. Many deception cycles continue because people hate admitting they were wrong. So they defend bad choices, ignore evidence, double down, stay too long, rationalize everything. Why? Because accepting truth hurts ego, but refusing truth hurts life. Mature people choose short pain over long damage. They can say, "I wanted this to be real. It isn't," and then move. That saves years. Another pillar: do not confuse secrecy with depth. Some people appear mysterious, hard to read, emotionally unavailable, inconsistent. This can feel intriguing, like hidden treasure. Often it is just dysfunction, lack of communication, avoidance, instability. Not every closed door hides wisdom. Sometimes it hides an empty room. Stop romanticizing confusion. Healthy depth can communicate. There is also social proof deception. People trust what others praise. Followers, popularity, beauty, network, titles, status. Many assume if many people like them, they must be good. No. Crowds validate many things: entertainment, usefulness, image, charm, not necessarily character.
Think independently. Some respected people are dangerous privately. Some overlooked people are excellent quietly. Another advanced principle: separate pity from trust. Someone can have trauma, pain,
Useful. Sometimes genuine. Sometimes dangerous. Many people mistake feeling good around someone for being safe with someone. Different things. Some of the most harmful people can be socially skilled, funny, smooth, warm at first, highly attentive. Charisma is not integrity. Excitement is not trustworthiness. Enjoy charm if you wish, but never use it as evidence of character. Let behavior do that job. Another truth: learn to tolerate disappointment quickly. Many deception cycles continue because people hate admitting they were wrong. So they defend bad choices, ignore evidence, double down, stay too long, rationalize everything. Why? Because accepting truth hurts ego, but refusing truth hurts life. Mature people choose short pain over long damage. They can say, "I wanted this to be real. It isn't," and then move. That saves years. Another pillar: do not confuse secrecy with depth. Some people appear mysterious, hard to read, emotionally unavailable, inconsistent. This can feel intriguing, like hidden treasure. Often it is just dysfunction, lack of communication, avoidance, instability. Not every closed door hides wisdom. Sometimes it hides an empty room. Stop romanticizing confusion. Healthy depth can communicate. There is also social proof deception. People trust what others praise. Followers, popularity, beauty, network, titles, status. Many assume if many people like them, they must be good. No. Crowds validate many things: entertainment, usefulness, image, charm, not necessarily character. Think independently. Some respected people are dangerous privately. Some overlooked people are excellent quietly. Another advanced principle: separate pity from trust. Someone can have trauma, pain,
a hard childhood, mental struggles, loss, and still be unsafe with your life. Compassion is noble. Trust is earned. Do not merge them automatically. You can understand wounds without giving unlimited access. This protects kind people especially. There is another mirror truth. Where have you been easiest to deceive? Attention, romance, money, authority figures, spiritual language, luxury image, victim stories, praise. Identify your recurring doorway, because deception is often personalized. People exploit what you crave. Know your cravings. Guard them wisely. Another pillar: observe under pressure. Many people perform well in comfort. Under pressure, truth leaks. Delayed gratification, conflict, jealousy, being told no, losing control, public embarrassment, stress. How someone behaves there tells more than polished dates and perfect meetings ever will. Another truth: you do not need certainty to step back. Many people stay because they lack proof. They wait for dramatic betrayal, confession, public evidence, total certainty. But wisdom often moves on patterns, not courtroom proof. Repeated confusion, repeated disrespect, repeated instability, repeated draining energy, repeated mismatch. You are allowed to leave what
Consistently costs peace?
even if you cannot explain it perfectly. Another elite principle: keep a full life. When someone becomes your only source of love, meaning, excitement, identity, you become vulnerable. Scarcity makes manipulation easier. But when life has friends, purpose, routine, health, goals, faith, self-respect, learning, peace, no single person can blackmail your emotions so easily. Abundance creates discernment. There is also silence. Manipulators often thrive in urgency. Decide now, answer now, commit now, forgive now, trust now. Calm people use time. They sleep on it. Wait, observe, think, seek outside perspective. Time weakens illusions. Pressure protects them. Another powerful phrase: anything healthy can survive a reasonable pause. Remember that. There is another sign you are growing. You stop asking, how do I make them choose me? And start asking, why would I choose this? That shift changes everything. Now you evaluate. Now you observe. Now you require standards. Now you stop auditioning for roles in unhealthy people's lives. Another truth: becoming hard to deceive does not mean becoming cold, suspicious, bitter, closed. It means warm heart, clear eyes, kindness with standards, compassion with boundaries, hope with discernment, love with self-respect. That balance is rare.
And powerful. Some people will dislike your growth because old tactics stop working. Your pauses frustrate urgency. Your boundaries frustrate entitlement. Your clarity frustrates confusion. Your independence frustrates control. Let them be frustrated. Your job is not to remain easy to use. Your job is to become safe for yourself. And eventually, something beautiful happens. You stop fearing deception so much, because even if someone lies, you trust yourself to notice sooner, leave sooner, recover faster, learn deeper. That confidence is freedom. The goal was never perfect prediction. It was stronger self-trust. Because when self-trust becomes solid, few people can truly trap you for long. And once you become hard to deceive, you move through life differently. Calmer, sharper, less desperate, more selective, more peaceful. You stop needing masks to explain themselves. Patterns speak loudly enough. And when you can hear patterns clearly, you become dangerous to illusions.
See clearly. Move wisely. Most people do not lose because life was impossible to understand. They lose because they ignored what was clear. They heard promises and dismissed patterns. They chased charm and ignored character. They trusted intensity and overlooked consistency. They wanted the fantasy more than the truth. And by the time reality became undeniable, time was gone. Energy was gone. Peace was gone. Sometimes confidence was gone too. This is how many people suffer. Not from one dramatic betrayal, but from small warnings they kept negotiating with. A pause they explained away. A disrespect they minimized. An inconsistency they romanticized. A discomfort they silenced. A pattern they called potential. A mask they preferred over motive. That is how illusions survive. They survive through permission. But now you know better. You know words can be polished.
Patterns reveal structure. Eyes show pressure. Energy speaks before language. Insecurity can wear arrogance. Fake confidence can look impressive.
Motives move behavior quietly. Boundaries reveal truth quickly. And most importantly, the person hardest to deceive is the person who no longer needs illusion. That sentence can change your life. Because many lies only work on hungry people. Hungry for love. Hungry for approval. Hungry for rescue. Hungry for status. Hungry for certainty. Hungry to be chosen. When hunger rules, discernment weakens. But when you build a full life, a grounded identity, self-respect, purpose, standards, peace, you stop needing every offer to be real. You stop needing every person to choose you. You stop forcing confusing things to make sense. And suddenly, you can see clearly. That clarity is power. Not power over people, power over your own decisions.
The power to leave sooner. The power to trust slower. The power to stop over-explaining red flags. The power to honor discomfort. The power to choose consistency over chemistry. The power to walk away from polished dysfunction. The power to wait for what is real. Many people think wisdom makes you cold. No. Wisdom makes you warm with standards, kind with boundaries, open with discernment, hopeful without being naive, loving without abandoning yourself. That is rare strength. There will still be people who try, people who perform, people who flatter, people who confuse, people who promise, people who return when lonely, people who want access more than connection. Let them exist. Your job is not to control all masks. Your job is to sharpen your sight. Because once you can see, you do not need to fight every illusion. You simply stop buying it. That is freedom. And there is peace in no longer needing to decode chaos endlessly, no longer needing closure from the unclear, no longer needing honesty from the dishonest, no longer needing maturity from the immature, no longer needing consistency from the committedly inconsistent. You stop asking broken systems to give healthy outcomes. You move. Quietly, cleanly, wisely. Some people will say you changed. You became harder to access, harder to impress, harder to confuse, harder to manipulate. Good. Growth often looks like distance to those who benefited from your blindness. Let them misunderstand. Your responsibility is not to remain easy to deceive. Your responsibility is to become safe for yourself. And eventually, something beautiful happens. You stop obsessing over who is fake, because your standards filter faster. You stop fearing betrayal so much, because your self-trust returns. You stop chasing explanations, because patterns speak loudly enough. You stop needing masks removed publicly, because motive becomes visible privately. You become calmer, sharper, less reactive, less impressed, more selective, more peaceful. That is what real intelligence looks like. Not knowing everything, seeing enough, choosing wisely, protecting peace. One final truth.
The goal was never to become suspicious of everyone. It was to become unavailable to deception. To remain kind, but not gullible. Open, but not unguarded. Loving, but not self-abandoning. Strong, but not hard. Wise, but still human. Carry that with you into friendships, relationships, business, family, rooms you enter, and rooms you leave. Listen to patterns. Respect timing. Trust consistency. Honor your nervous system. And never trade clarity for temporary comfort again. Because the person who sees clearly moves wisely. And the person who moves wisely rarely loses for long. See clearly. Move wisely.